I didn't know that I had lost my way. Thought everything was gonna be okay, but life was empty. I filled it up and carried on. The pain kept coming, I was going down. I held so tight, kept falling to the ground. I knew I had to change, I knew I had to let it go. And now I've found a better way to wash the ego pain away. And then I found the words to say, I am divine, I am divine. It's always been there, it will never go away. I am divine. I feel so free, remember every day. The moment all the pain was washed away. I shine so bright now, and I want everyone to know. You've got this living deep inside you too. And it's so easy just to feel brand new. Commit surrender to your divinity within. And then you'll see a better way. Things you don't need will fall away. Your eyes will open and you'll say, I am divine, I am divine. It's always been there, it will never go away. I am divine. Oh, I am divine, I am divine. It's always been there, it will never go away. I am divine. It's always been there, it will never go away. I am divine.
Tony?
Welcome.
For show.
Welcome, welcome. No, can't hear.
Greetings. Hello, hello, hello.
No sound.
It has sound? Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Put an I am in the chat if you can hear us. Pull the chat up for me. Okay.
Very good.
So the fellow to my right here shaved his beard. Looks a little different. Hey, Tim, LK, Vanessa, Michael. Awesome. Great to have you guys.
Is that our Tim or?
No, that's Tim and Shannon from yesterday.
Okay. Oh, yes, Tim and Shannon, yes.
Yes.
The guy that sang the song, his name is Tim.
TimSteinrechmusic.com.
Yep.
He's working on that Divine song, go to the Grammys for next year. So
yeah,
he said he's bringing Don on stage with him, but I told him Don and I are a package deal. So Don and I are going to the Grammys next year.
Yeah, he actually when we were finished, soon as he was finished, he laughed for 20 solid minutes, nonstop, hysterically. That's how much of a release it was. And the next day he sang, wrote the song,
Letting go.
Letting Go.
Letting go of his ego.
Yeah, yeah, pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. I remember that December 31st, 2020.
Yeah, last day of the year.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was still, let's just call it not 100% surrendered.
Yeah.
I remember Tim's 2 words that he said of why he got it and kept it for so long was commitment and surrender.
Yeah.
I knew I had the commitment, but the surrender at the time was
Quite
waffling to
weak.
say the least.
Quite weak. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
But what have you noticed for the ones that show up that are just completely ready to surrender compared to the ones that aren't?
Well, it's pretty easy, actually. Actually, I did one today, this morning. And he had taken my process the first time, 2016. And right after, I was in Vancouver. Both of us were in Vancouver. And he was in downtown Vancouver, and I was out in West Van. And after he was finished, he had to drive across the Lionsgate Bridge. And there was some kind of a traffic thing. And he motioned with his hand for it to open. And it was like that, the name of that movie of Jim
Bruce
Carrey.
Almighty. Bruce Almighty.
Bruce Almighty, yeah.
Yeah.
And the cars on both sides just opened up, and he drove all the way across the bridge. And he did that about 3 weeks ago. He changed all the lights from downtown all the way out to Surrey, which is, I don't know how long that
45 minutes.
or
maybe?
45 minutes. And every light was green. And then just before he got there, he was a little early, so he told the light to, to slow down, and some of them got a little red, just so that he'd be right there on time. And I'm telling you, these are real stories. These are real stories. I have 68 weather stories. And one of the ones, just to give you an idea of how exact and accurate they are, I'll tell you 2 of them. One was I had a high-end client. His son was a really good golfer, as was he, only the son was looking at getting trained for the PGA. And they were on a high-end golf course in Vancouver, Vancouver. And so they invited us. So at 2:00 in the morning, I got up to have a pee, and it was pouring rain, absolutely pouring rain. I said, "Okay, listen, bud, I got a game at a tee off at 7:00. You be done at 5. So I got up at 5, get ready. Still pouring rain. I said, "I told you I got a game at 7. And still got dressed. It was still raining. Picked up my son. Went to the golf course. They showed up too. Still raining. We went over to and just got warmed up. And then it was time to tee off at 7:00. And that golf course, it has like a foghorn. And I was the first to tee off. It was still raining. And I put my tee in, put the ball in, and I just went to my stance, and it stopped raining. And so played the whole game, not a drop. When we were done at the golf course game, they invited us in for dinner, for lunch. We were sitting in it's kind of like an overhang, and at 12:00 sharp, you could not hear yourself talking. It was raining that hard. That's what I'm talking about. And one other one, and I had no intention of talking about these, but My sweetheart at the time, Nikki, and she lived up in the wilderness with the whales and the grizzly bears and dolphins and all of that. And she used to be a guide for people in their big boats and everything, yachts. And this lady said, "Listen, I got a stick with about 2,000 video movies on them if you'd like." And we're movie buffs, and so the next day we were going to get this stick for all these movies. And she had a 16-foot runabout with only a windshield, no top or anything. And we came around this bluff, and we were going to go down by this big waterfall and whatever. And there was this wall of rain. Like, I'm talking about a wall of rain. It was as high as you could see and as wide as you could see, and it was coming straight at us, like, fast. And Nikki started looking for what she needed, and she said, "Oh my God, we're going to get drenched. We don't have any rain gear." And by this time now, the rain is probably 30 feet away. And then she went to get some tool or something. And by this time now, it's by the near the windshield, near the front of the boat. And she said, "We're going to get drenched." I said, "Don't worry, Nikki, I got it covered." Put my hand up. Stopped instantly. Within 3 minutes, there wasn't a cloud in the sky. 3 drops of rain got on the windshield, none on her and none on me. Now, I say this for you to know how powerful you are and how powerful this energy around us is, such as the weather, and how much we can influence. And so that's what we're about. And I don't mean us, I mean we as humans are about influencing, but from our position of our light. And Jamie's got tons of stories as well of those kind of things. Am I correct?
Yeah, I remember, first of all, if you're still in the intellect, it's going to be real tough to wrap yourself around believing that one. But I remember Don was sharing these stories with me. I think it was 40-something at the time, the weather, like the Hurricane Durian, and like you got some pretty intense ones.
Yeah.
And it was maybe a week or so. No, not even a week, because I was going up to see Josh Willamant, and they came down the following week to do the group process.
Oh, yeah, right.
Anyway, I go to rent a convertible in Vancouver to go do this 3-hour drive up to see Josh and Sloan. And 3 rental companies told me the first 2 said, "We don't have a convertible, but it's going to be raining all weekend anyways." And I just at that time I wasn't intending to change the weather. I just intuitively ignored those messages and kept going. And then on the third one they said, "Yeah, we do have one, but it's going to rain this weekend." I said, "Yeah, I'll take it." So I go to pick it up around 11 a.m. On Friday, and pouring out. If anyone knows, well, for you Americans, Vancouver is very much like Seattle. It's just like, oh, it's always raining. So if you're anywhere around those parts, this power does have some use. We haven't had to use that for a while, hey?
Oh,
In the places we've been after that. But Vancouver, very helpful to change the weather. And anyway, I go to pick it up, just pouring down rain, super dark. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go pick up friends of mine that were coming with me, Riley and his girlfriend. And we jump on the highway, still just pouring out rain. Like, you could barely go the speed limit because of how slippery the tires were on how wet the highway was. And so we get outside of the lower mainland of Vancouver, and there's a town called Hope. And I look over to Riley, and And again, like not really thinking much of it, just said it's going to stop raining after Hope. And so we go through Hope, and the next town after that is Merritt, and we pull over to take a pee break, and go into the store. It's still pouring out rain. We come out, now it's just starting to drizzle like lightly, and I look at Riley. I was like, "Yeah, let's take the top down." And he looked at me like, "You're crazy, dude! Like we just spent like a good 45 minutes of driving through intense rain, and it didn't look like it was going to clear up, other than it was just softened a bit." And so I put the top down. It's barely drizzling at this point. Get back on the highway. The interesting part was about 5 minutes on the highway. Not only was it not raining at this point, but the highway was just completely dry. It was like if it was just raining for hours or whatever, last couple days. Like, how is it just completely dry? That was just completely dry, and so now we're going above the speed limit and going into the town of Kelowna, which was a good 2.5 hour drive. Still no rain. Pulled up to Vernon, where Josh was. Another 45 minutes. Still no rain. We go up this mountain. He was at the top of the mountain, and we're going up the mountain, and it's still like very cloudy, but no rain. And then we started hearing thunder, like a good 15 minutes before we were at the top of the mountain, and still no rain. And then we pull up to Josh and Sloane's house at the time, and I put up the top, still no rain, and open the door, still no rain, and step out of the vehicle, and it just starts pouring, like just pouring, to the point we had to run inside the house to not get super soaked. And it's still, at that point, it didn't hit me until we were in the house, and I look over at Riley, and he looks at me, and we're like, holy fuck, like, did I do that? And so that was talk about a confirmation.
Yeah, and just like that, like Jamie, like, did I do that? My very first time I was in Bermuda with my wife, and I would go out at night, and there was a cliff that was about 100 feet high, and it was, about 100 yards away. And I would go out and sit on that cliff, and the waves were just smashing in, because, I mean, it's just the ocean. The ocean is right there. And just, it's crazy, powerful waves. And then it was a full moon. It was an absolute full moon. And it was bright and all of that. And then there was this cloud started to come towards me, like a black cloud. And about halfway there, I just didn't know. This is the first time I ever did this. And I'd never heard of it before, like none of it. It's just all intuitive. And it got about halfway there. And I put my hand up and I said, "Don't you dare cover up that moon until I go inside." It kept coming, got close to the moon, and it just spread, separated, and went around the moon until I went in. It just stayed that way. And when I walked in, just before I went in the cabin, it covered up, the clouds came and covered up the moon. Did I do that? Just like what Jamie just said. So I encourage you to play with this. Knowing, like, the whole idea is, wow, how powerful are we? Really? How powerful are we? And I got to learn a lot about how powerful I am. Certainly with the weather, but with people with illnesses and diseases, and Jamie's witnessed them. He's been around and seen them and hearing the stories. And it's like, wow, because lots of times it's the coupling of my energy, their energy, and the cleansing of their programming. The combination of those three is powerful. And so I've seen I've seen tons of them, of these, what everybody else would deem miracles, what everyone else deems miracles, and they're just natural in this divine light that we're all meant to be in.
Well, that's one thing I noticed. It was so, like, with the weather, with the convertible, it was so intuitive what I was doing that
Yeah.
if I didn't stop for that second, like, if it wasn't so obvious that, like, got out of the car, rain, and I didn't stop for that second, I wouldn't have thought much of it. It would have just been one of those things I just kind of naturally
Yeah.
did without, too much intention.
Yeah. So, uh,
That's a big one though, the weather one. I remember I did it so early in my process, but I remember using that as a benchmark. Like, if I can change the weather, like, what else can I,
yes.
what else can I
Exactly.
change here? Or like if something, whether it was with a relationship or something external happened, and I would go to blame it, it was like, well, if I'm powerful enough to change the weather, I can change this situation. Like this. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And we can overcome illnesses and injuries, and yeah, it's like one guy. Actually, it was Jamie introduced him to me. He was in
Mm.
Thailand. Businessman.
Oh, Michael.
Michael. Phelps? No, not
We'll
Phelps.
stick to first names to.
Okay, yes, yes. And plus, he wasn't a well-known Olympic swimmer. Michael. And he had an incredibly intense speech impediment. Had it for 55 years. 55 years. And I drove out to see him. He was out in another town.
Mm-hmm.
And drove out to see him, work with him out there. And I think it was around 2.5 hours or something like that. And then I left. And he had a meeting at 3:00, a business meeting with these people from Japan and I forget another country. Like it was a big, and speech impediment was gone. 55 years gone. 2 hours after, well, maybe 3 hours after I finished working with him. Like, who did that? Did I do that? I might have had some influence, but I'm telling you, he did that and he did it on his own. I did not tell him to do anything. He intuitively, in his light, got rid of a 55-year speech impediment that day. Now, I trust you're starting to think about, wow, is that really possible? And of course, then you might say, well, maybe for them, but not for me. Because that's a nice, tricky ego statement, okay? But we are powerful beyond measure. Beyond measure. For sure. And once again,
That one with Michael surprised me because I've known him for probably 2 or 3 years just online. He's a big marketer, so we ran in the same circles, and he would do videos and whatnot, and the speech impediment wouldn't come through there. So come to find out, because we sat for lunch with him before you actually worked with him, and it was intense of how like he could barely get sentences put together. And this is a guy that I'd like just looked up to in the marketing realm, and come to find out he's got this like serious problem. So what it was is he could do the mass videos, but in the small groups or one-on-one, like in small settings, it'd just be really intense. So that was pretty cool. And he was gonna get his whole family, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's still planning on doing it.
Yeah. It's been a while, Michael, if you're listening.
Yeah, yeah, Michael. Get your act together, bud.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the biggest one that I see come up, after you work with people, and it happened to me too, is you have these intense, like for him, 55 years of speech impediment gone. It's like, holy shit, that's, or Josh Gabby with in a walker for 4 years and then running the next day.
Hmm.
Um,
Throwing his walker away.
throwing his walker, yeah, carrying it at one point. But then brushing up against that phobia of the light and like that terrified of how powerful they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
And I bumped into that too, and it was like all the alcohol and weed couldn't suppress that after I changed the weather that day. It was like, you know,
Yeah.
how small have I been playing? Holy. And
Yeah.
it can be terrifying at first. It was for me. So what have you noticed recently with really going after that phobia of the light being the cause of all the causes?
Well, if you really break it down, no matter how these symptoms may look, you know, and they originated from a breakup, or they originated from this, or originated from that, or whatever, but there's a much bigger origin, which is a phobia to our light, and that the key about this is lots of times these show up even in the womb, like seriously in the womb. You know, when a parent, you're a girl and they wanted a boy, you think you picked that up? You damn right you picked that up. And
Mine was mom had a miscarriage, her first child, so I was technically the second.
right,
And
yeah,
so it was all, I'm
was,
going to die. Yeah,
yeah.
he's going to die. I'm going to die.
And on that's Jamie's response to that. But he came with a phobia to the light from a previous life. Okay?
When I was crucified next to Jesus. That one?
Was that you?
Yeah, I saw it. So
Didn't
I
recognize
remember
you
you
with
being
no
there.
hair.
No, that is a big one. I mean, if we going back through any history, it seems that anyone that was shining at any level
Yeah.
was in some way, shape, or form murdered, hung, crucified, whatever.
Yeah, because I mean they're operating at around 100 and 150, and there's no way that you can think any even a positive thought, let alone a string of positive thoughts, let alone living in that. You know, and so they're. Hey, it's happened to me on numerous occasions, and I don't mean the crucifixion, but I'm talking about the being attacked for me in this light. Like seriously, like even people that, what's the guy's first name that he had a daughter and 20 speech impediment. No, was it speech? No,
The
suicidal.
suicidal one?
Mark.
Florida, Mark, yeah.
Mark.
Hmm.
And him and his wife are getting a divorce before we met. Okay, they're getting a divorce. And I think it was 10 days, maybe 14 days after I worked with the both of them as a couple. They went on our second honeymoon. That's how amazing it was. Then I like sometimes I will gift people something. And in this case, I think she was 19, their daughter. And she was highly suicidal. And so I took her through the process, and it was gone. And about 2 months, maybe 3 months later, he tore me to shreds of charging this amount of money and doesn't work, and like just, yeah, like really attacking. Yeah, so it's pretty crazy how the ego, And in all fairness, like he had a lot of Jamie's profile, like the narcissist and
Great looking.
oh yeah, right, yeah, 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 exactly. And so when it comes back big time, and that's why it's important to do that divine focus, not let that get away, like to do that religiously, diligently, every day. You know, uh, preferably 3 times as soon as you wake up, even before you go to the bathroom, if possible. Sometime in the middle of the day, and then once, and then before you go to sleep. And if you do it once before you go to sleep and fall asleep in it, hey, you might have 5, 6, 7 hours of it. Yeah, doesn't cost you a cent. No, you're sound asleep. So
And remember, minimum 3 times a day.
yeah,
Anytime something comes up, you
yeah,
feel yourself off, you jump right in it.
yeah, like right away, Don't and uh, and don't complicate it. Oh, how am I supposed to hold my fingers? What am I supposed to say? Which way am I supposed to turn? No, that's the ego. It's trying to get you confused. Trying to get you confused. It's like, if you're sitting there, just link your fingers, close your eyes and say, I am, sit there. You can be sitting there and there's people talking. Like, we're not talking about getting rewards or marks because you're sitting properly or holding your fingers right or whatever. It's once you do it once, the fingers, it's an anchor. It's a neurological anchor. You link the thumb first finger right hand with your thumb and first finger right hand, thumb and first finger left, and link them. Say I am. Boom, done. Done.
Outside of that one, you want to share with them just a little tidbit of how they can do it with their eyes open too?
Yeah. The reason I do the first one, um, because I need you to stay in the place of doing your timeline, going back on your timeline. And it's really hard going back on your timeline with your eyes open because you got all these distractions. And so it's like keeping your eyes closed, keeping you focused, going back, when you're going back to the different ages from, 70 to 65 to 60 to 53, and back, and with your eyes closed, because that way you can stay internal. You can stay internal and stay focused at what's going on. And so that's what that's about. All the way back to, many go back right into the womb. And we talked about this before, about different things that's happened in the womb and all the messages, like I said last night about, or I think it was last night. My mom, Rita Mary, the first one, 4 months, died of crib death, and every one of the next 9 after that got the message that they were going to die right away. And so, boom. Then that turns into what better way to have a phobia to your light, thinking that you're going to die, and that those kind of things, they're real. I mean, they're real as far as there's energy to them. There's a ball of energy, and so having your eyes closed, going back all the way back to in the womb or wherever, to find that, and keeping your eyes closed, then we can load up that balloon with all the toxic energy, and you stay in that state, like if you're sleeping, and then to shift it, then you just lance the emotional boil, and boom, It's all gone. Everything's gone. And you come back up through your timeline, and now you're seeing it in your divinity. In your divinity rather than in I'm going to die energy. Now, the difficulty is you might have just spent 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, even 80 years and in that death program and hardly ever out of it. And so there's this emotional attachment to the feelings, to the thinking, all of those negative systems that hold you back, and the ego manipulates and controls. And so that's why keeping them closed that first time is essential to do the re-imprint. To do the re-imprint where you're putting it all in a big balloon, you're lancing that emotional boil and shifting all of the energies around it. So after that, you don't have to have your eyes closed. Some you can't. It's your preference. But the first one is keeping your eyes closed till we're done with the actual re-imprint. And the re-imprint is, this is what happened. This is how it happened. This is when it happened. Okay? That's it. And then we shift it, and boom, it's gone. And as some of you have found out, not only do the energies collapse, but the illness or the symptom or the disease or the whatever either leaves instantly or starts leaving right away, and it's gone in a week or an hour or a day or whatever. And I've seen them. I've seen it right in front of me. I've literally seen it right in front of me. Many times. It's like, oh my God. That Janessa that had this big bulge on the side of her stomach wall, the size of her fist. And when we were finished with the process, 2.5 hours later, it was gone. I didn't even know she had it. So that's how crazy this is. And it's how powerful we are. And yes, we do create these symptoms and illnesses and diseases. There's something we have to do with that. There's a message we got. And there's an energy that comes with it. And it's that energy and the belief that we're bad and we need to be punished, or we're evil and we're going to hell, or you need to be the best in the world, or you're nothing. All of those programs, many form before you even are born. They're in the womb. Isn't that amazing? So,
LK says, Don, how about genetically inherited conditions?
give me an example.
Got an example there, LK?
I got one if you run out. Okay. My grandmother had migraine headaches. My mother had migraine headaches. I had migraine headaches. My daughter had migraine headaches. Once I figured out it was me creating them, I never had one since. I changed the programming. Never had one since. As an example of an hereditary or genetic, because I don't believe in genetics. I believe it's the message that gets passed down from one generation to the other. Yes, the gene goes with it, but it was you that passed it down or accepted
Can
it.
you hear me, Don?
Yes.
Yeah, I have an eye condition, glaucoma.
A heart condition?
Eye.
Eye
Eye condition. Glaucoma?
glaucoma, yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, the pressure in the eye builds up to it starts destroying the optic nerve and the retina, all the things that make vision possible. And my mom had it. I heard my father had it. I didn't know my father. But I heard that he didn't live with us. I mean, it was just my mom. She was a single parent, but she had it. My mom and my great grandmother had it. So she passed away. She passed away. She was blind because she couldn't see from glaucoma. My
Yeah.
mom was the same way.
Yeah.
He passed away. Yeah. So I
Well,
have it too, and like I'm having to use eye drops, 4 different kinds of eye drops every day to try to keep the pressure at a level that, you know, my eye can, maintain the vision. But
okay.
my eye doctor says, hey, it's just a matter of time. You're gonna slowly but surely gonna lose that vision and that
Well, I'm gonna reframe that one for you, bud. It's only a
okay.
matter of time that you give your cells the message that it can overcome it. Okay? So
Okay.
I'm telling you, like migraine headaches. You talk to the medical system. It's in the category of hereditary. And yet, as soon as I figured it out, how to do it, I haven't had one since. Haven't had a migraine since. How did that happen? Tell me how that happened. Okay.
I I don't know, Don. I mean, I'm trying to, be intellectual with what I'm dealing with. I mean,
Good luck.
yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. I can go through the energy systems. You try to get into a state where you're, applying energy to the eye to
Well, no,
basically,
okay. First of all, listen. You need to have the knowing that it's possible.
right.
It's the gene of the parent that had the belief about glaucoma or whatever that got passed down. Okay, it's the belief.
Okay.
You change the belief, then miracles happen.
Can you share that one about the lady, I think younger girl that created and uncreated blindness a few times? Remember that?
Yeah, I'm just
She had witnessed something as a child.
oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, I work with so many but yeah, she had yeah, she saw something. She saw something with her dad, and she created blindness, and then something happened a little later, a few years later, and she overcome it for a bit, and she got it back. And then when I worked with her, and she went back and did the reprogramming, the re-imprint on the message. You think you don't believe the messages that your parents carry? Huh. You're damn right you do. Especially the mom, especially in the womb. And then this is not blaming any. This is not blaming someone. This is, oh my God. Does that mean like the genes? No, I'm not going to be mad at my mom for passing down this migraine gene or her mom. Of course not. It's like, oh, wow. So that's how it kept going from one generation to another, to another, to another. And we talk about addictions being diseases. Well, addictions are, you know, I had an alcohol and drug addiction, mostly alcohol. Dad was an alcoholic. Uh, his dad was an alcoholic. Mom's dad was an alcoholic. Her brother was an alcoholic. Okay, my 2 brothers were alcoholics. 2 sisters were alcoholics? You'd think that was hereditary, would you? What would you think, LK?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't necessarily think it was hereditary, but
Okay, how
I know
come? I'm curious. How come?
it's from watched behavior. Oh, if you see somebody doing something, uh, and you're close families, whatever,
Yep.
then you know it's a good chance that you might adopt that same behavior.
Oh, you catch a behavior?
No, you can't catch it, but you can
Oh,
adopt
that's
it.
what you
I mean,
said. I'm just checking your language.
oh, okay, yeah. Uh, no, you can't catch it. I don't believe you can catch a behavior. No.
Say that again?
I don't. I don't believe you can catch a behavior.
Okay. So can you catch glaucoma? Glaucoma.
No, you can't catch it. I don't. You know, I just don't. I don't understand genetics. Like, you know, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a geneticist. You know.
Yeah, no,
But,
neither am I. Here's what I know.
okay.
Here's what I know. An illness or a symptom of some sort gets passed down from generation to generation. It's put in the category of genetics. Okay? You had it, and if your grandmother had it, there's a big chance you had the mother or the father had it, or you had it, and your children will get it. Well, those are belief systems. Those are belief systems gets passed down from generation to generation. And there's something that happened that they got it to begin with the first, say the grandmother or the great grandmother or grandfather, whatever. And they just keep getting passed down. Because what do you hear? You know, imagine you in the womb and your mom has glaucoma and says, "Oh my God, my child is going to get glaucoma. I don't know what I'm going to do about that." You think you would pick that up in the womb?
Oh yeah, I believe you could.
Yeah, you're damn right. Okay? That's how they get passed down.
But see, back in the day, John, my mom, she didn't. I mean, she never knew she had glaucoma until later in her life.
And that it doesn't
It
matter.
does,
I'm talking about most of these things are subconscious.
okay, got you.
Okay, it's not like somebody writes on the board, "You're going to get glaucoma because I got glaucoma." Okay, that's not how this works. I'm telling you this. These genetics can be severed by us doing it for ourselves. And what in the hell do you have to lose? If you have something that's, oh, well, let's try whatever in the hell that thing that Don's talking about, even though I don't believe in it, let's see how it works. And that's no different than the weather. You know, checking it out and seeing. Hey. Oops. Excuse me. Sorry.
Is it advertisement for Apple? Thank you to our sponsor.
Well, I'll tell you who that was. That was my niece. 3 weeks ago was highly suicidal. Highly, highly suicidal. Okay? And I spent 15 minutes with her. And she couldn't get the grin off her face. Now, if she had have taken her life, there was another family member that took their life. And it's like, yeah, it runs in the family. Yeah, it runs in the family. Yeah, no, it's the thinking and the belief systems that get passed down from generation to generation. And in them, the seeds of glaucoma or psoriasis or hemorrhoids or alcoholism or drug addiction or whatever. It's this inability to meet our needs of giving and receiving love, giving and receiving worth, giving and receiving this invincibility, and giving and receiving that freedom. And very few people know how to get those four together. Very few. And when we don't, we're out of kilter, we're out of whack, and we do these things that are unnatural, and we end up having symptoms or injuries or whatever. The multiple near-death experiences I had, all of those are all part of this programming. And the reason I'm spending time on this is for you to know you created them. And I'm not saying that for you to blame yourself. I'm saying that, holy shit, I did that? You mean I can undo this? Yes, you can undo anything. You can undo anything that you created. Once you take ownership for, oh, maybe I did create that. Let's pretend
even
I
a
did.
swollen toe.
Yeah, even
in
a
Sam's
swollen
case?
toe. Yeah. Because all you have to do, check things out, is it right or left? Okay, if it's right, I'm having difficulty with stepping in my power. I get my, toe stubbed
It's the
to
left. by
remind
the
me
way.
not to go too fast.
It's the left.
Oh, it's the left. Then that's the emotion. Too sensitive. There's something sensitive that I'm having trouble dealing with. I'm going to remind myself by having a stubbed toe to not go so fast, not go so quick, because I can't keep control over everything. I can't keep in charge. How am I going to deal with all of this at the same time? So I create these injuries, illnesses, diseases. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't hold on to the victim identity for very long if you want to accept that one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, there's no room for the victim abuser energy. Got to go.
But like you said, once you get over that, it's like, oh wow, I have the power to uncreate it all as well.
Yeah. Once you realize that you created it, and this is not meant to be blaming. It's like, holy shit, that was me. I'm going to take ownership for this, and I'm going to now uncreate it. And all you have to do, bypass the intellect, get into your divinity, and figure it out. Because these illnesses, like I said, one of the books that I find, I haven't used it for a few years now, but the Debbie Shapiro Mind Body Workbook, to just check whatever that might be, like glaucoma. Is it the left eye, the right eye? Is it both? What is it? Okay.
Well, it's the right eye right now. I lost sight in my left eye about 30 years ago, so I don't have any sight in that eye. But it's the right eye that has the glaucoma.
Okay. How long have you had it?
You mean the glaucoma, the symptoms?
Yeah.
Well, the doctors have told me that, when I've gone to do eye exams, they told me I've had the glaucoma probably 25, 30 years when the symptoms started.
Okay. So, LK, what were you doing 25 or 30 years ago?
I was working, I was doing my job. I lost the eyesight. I had a
What?
accident.
You had an
I
accident?
had a
What
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
accident?
It was an on the job injury that I was doing some work, and uh, I got lost. I got lost the eyesight in
You what?
I lost the eyesight in that instant. There was a job I was trying to do at the time, and I lost that eye doing that job.
You physically lost the eye or the eyesight?
Yeah, yeah. The eyesight's gone. Doctor tried to repair it. You know,
Okay, I'm
couldn't
going to
do
give
it.
you an example. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. Okay,
Okay.
okay. My oldest brother Ivan, him and Dad fought all the time, and things were like, it was a crazy, bizarre house that we were in. And at age 4, he was tobogganing on Prince Edward Island, lots of snow in the wintertime. And he went through a barbed wire fence and lost his sight in his left eye. And I worked with him when he was 65 or 70, somewhere in that vicinity, and did the re-imprint. And it was like, went back, and he didn't like seeing what he was seeing, the emotional. And that's why it was his left eye, and that's why it was his eye. He didn't want to see what he was seeing. Okay? So it's easy to say, yeah, I lost my eye to an accident. Well, I don't believe there are accidents. I believe that we manifest them for some reason. I'm not saying that for blame. I'm saying that is, wow, is that possible that I would have done that? And 99 times out of 100, yes. We create these, wherever they are. And you taking ownership, and you'd be surprised. You know, like this Mark, 55-year speech impediment.
Michael.
Or Michael, sorry. Speech impediment. We went back to the moment in time. I think it was around 5 or 6. And there was something that happened. Cleaned it up. Did the re-imprint on the eye. On the speech impediment. And it was gone. Wow. Isn't that amazing? Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. All I'm saying is, wow, could that work for my glaucoma? Is that possible? Could that work for my cancer? Where in my body do I have my cancer? Every single person I did, like the 10 I worked with on December 20th, 2019, I just sent out a flyer saying, I'm going to work with 10 people. I'm going to work with 10 people with cancer. Prefer the worse the better. The worse the better. Stage 4, the better. And 10 showed up. Last I heard, now we're talking about late stage cancer, stage 4, for I think 8 of them. And the last time I was talking to somebody about it, there was 7 still cancer-free. How'd that happen? Any one of you? LK? How'd that happen, LK? And they were all in different areas.
It's, well, you know, some people would say it's a miracle.
It's just a miracle.
No, like I said, some people would say that.
Oh. What about the coincidence of 10 at the same time? Is that a miracle?
No.
Thank you. Okay, because you're going to get the naysayers saying those things. You're going to get that. You make sure you're not one of them for this glaucoma. Maybe I can do something about it, no matter how long I've had it. What do you think of that as a strategy, LK?
That's a good strategy, John. I like it, man.
Oh, that's an effing awesome strategy, bud. Okay? And you damn well get
So
busy.
so I'm thinking, I missed it going back to the womb is what I'm thinking now. And maybe when I go back through I'll do the process again.
Yes, you do that process again. Stay the hell out
And
of your head and stay with your intuition and let your intuition guide you, not your intellect.
okay,
Clear?
clear the bill, Don. Thank you.
You're welcome, bud.
Looking forward to your update there, okay? Way to go. Anyone
All
else
right.
want to come on and share? Any questions for Don?
I got a question. It's a little embarrassing question, but
Go right ahead,
None
Gilbert.
to me, bud.
woo! No, just kidding.
Hey, Will.
Okay, so during this process, like on the
Yep.
14th day, just by when I went to bed at night, I just, sprawled out and I had a mega ultra O ends with asm, just in case there's, kids or whatever in the room. And then again, it happened today's my 30th day sober on a bunch of stuff. And and it happened again, but it was like a double one in the astral plane and then in the physical plane. And I woke up like ecstatic, like bewildered, but then also like embarrassed because I'm like, is it gonna rev up? Because I don't know, sure if I have to get like adult diapers at like every 2 weeks or something. But I'm just curious to know, like, is that normal to be happening, or will it subside over time? Because my goal is to retain as much as I could in me. Like, my point is to retain like indefinitely, but for some reason, I'm just having these like bursts, these ridiculous, mega ultra ridiculous. Yeah, and then so I start off like, oh my god, that was amazing, and then all of a sudden, like shame sinks in, and a little embarrassed about having to change out into another pair of boxer briefs and stuff like that. So yeah. So it's a little embarrassing. I'm not sure if anybody else ever deals with that, but
Well, first of all, what are you embarrassed about?
well, soiling my boxers while I'm sleeping at night, like I had no control over that. It was kind of
And here's the first thing that came to me, okay, bud?
okay.
Your whole life is exploding with excitement. Okay? And what more of a way of exploding that excitement out to the world?
Through sexual energy.
Yeah. Through sexual energy.
Okay. So not to feel it that way. All right. Just
And
enjoy it.
don't even effing think about shame.
Okay.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
the ego once again trying to put a negative slant on something.
Okay. Thank you, Don. Thank you.
Way to go, Gilbert. Appreciate the vulnerability.
Thank you
Anyone
for the feedback and help. Thank you.
I've had some close calls and massages. Okay, if you want to. That's awesome, bud. Okay. Anyone else want to share questions, comments, updates? Just put your hand up, and I woke up Will, so he'll get to it.
So right now it's like, the routine of it all setting in and getting used to spending that divine focus time 10 minutes 3 times a day, starting your day off with this divine light that you are. Remember, you are divine light. No matter what your programming said, that you're bad and evil and ugly and no good enough and not worthy and not loved, and all of that bullshit crap. You are divine. You're literally divine. There's a God in you, as there's a God in me. Every one of us. And the whole idea behind this is clearing away the human beliefs, who we think we are, and get down to that knowing of our divine nature. And that's why Jamie and I are talking about the weather. Like, it's not considered normal. Doesn't mean it's not normal. It's just that most people don't know they're that powerful, or they have that much influence. And so, whatever these are, it's like, this morning, this person that I worked with 16 years ago that went across the Lionsgate Bridge, he called me this morning, and he and he's a pharmacist, and so he's constantly finding naturopathic ways to create, something that will deal with people in a healthy way rather than chemicals. And a couple of deals went sideways, and he was wondering what was going on, and him and I go way back, and he called me and told me what was happening, and then I just started firing questions at him and asking him all of this, and then I just said, so, that you had a granddaughter, didn't you, just over Christmas? And you went back to Manitoba or wherever to see the family, and she was doing figure skating and came first. And he said, yeah. He said, well, how come you went through so much, going through snowstorms and freezing cold weather, all of that? Well, what do you, of course, like, it's my granddaughter, I'm going to do whatever I can. I said, yeah. And unfortunately, you're spending a lot of that kind of energy on trying to do these money programs. What if you're here on the planet to assist children at something of being in their light? Oh my God. Wow, Don. Yes, that's why I'm here. Here I was thinking of leaving. And you're not damn well leaving until I tell you to leave. Of course, I was just teasing him. And then he just picked that right up and was like, oh yeah, that's why I'm here. I'm here to assist children. Yeah, to find that beauty inside them. You go do that, bud. You go do that. And everything just shifted completely. So I'm challenging you to reevaluate and spend time at, how powerful am I? What is it that I can do? Wow. I wonder what that would be like. I got a picture of me and Al Gore. Somebody took a picture of me and Al Gore when I was working with him. And like working with the top elite athletes in the world. 15 different sports. Working with the NBA and the NFL and the NHL and the PGA and World Cup skiing and Olympic swimming and on and on and on. It's like, did I plan that? No, it's like you just start and it comes. And, if somebody had told me 20 years ago or 40 years ago, I'd be doing something like this. It's like, yeah, give your head a shake. And yet, you know, everything I put my mind to or put my energy to, I succeeded in major fashion. But I also, Jamie and I have certainly made some pretty big sacrifices. So, for example, when I was a plumber pipe fitter, so I worked. We built the Calgary Airport, Foothills Hospital Cancer Clinic, Banff Park Lodge, I forget them all. 13-story high rise, an 18-story high rise, a 33-story high rise, and I had given my notice in November that I was leaving to go back to Prince Edward Island from Calgary in 1st of April. So the 15th of March, my head guy and the head of Western Canada came to see me on the job site. He said, Don, we don't want you to leave. So we want you to be the head of charge of all projects in Western Canada. And this is your raise, quadruple what you're making, have your own truck, and you can do your own hours, do whatever you want. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I said, yeah, sounds great, boys. Really does. But I gotta leave. I have a calling, and it's more important than anything. And so I quit on December 31st. I had a trailer, camper on the back of a 3/4-ton extended cab truck, and drove all the way across Canada. And my wife, dreading every minute because she wanted to stay where we had lots of money and all that kind of stuff. And so I made that sacrifice. I followed that calling. And I got back there, thought I was going to do the hotel that was being built there, and it didn't. And ended up, I ended up driving a coffee truck for 9 months. It's the only job I could find. And then I ended up convincing them to let me start working in the treatment center. And I worked in the treatment center with alcoholics and drug addicts, whatever, for 7 years. Working with the worst. I worked with serial rapists, armed robbers, murderers. The whole 9 yards. And then, I had a great job and government job. If you had a government job, a PI at that time, you were in big. And I gave him a notice. I started my own. And each one of these moves, my wife was just freaking out because she never got into being into this energy. So it's just too afraid. And so I did that, and then we left and come back to Calgary and left, and my wife said, I'm not doing this anymore. And so I went from Calgary to Vancouver, and she went from Calgary back to Prince Edward Island. So these sacrifices of the things that we have to shred or let go of to be in alignment with who we truly are is not always easy. Would you agree?
I would agree, yes. We have a hand up here with Shannon. Let's see what Shannon has to share. Go ahead, Shannon.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Good morning, you guys. And I suppose good evening for you.
Yeah.
um,
Good night.
yes, good night. um, so we have our granddaughter here, and she will be 3 in March.
Yeah.
And she has gone through some periods of being very afraid and fearful of the bath.
The way of the bath.
The bath, taking a bath or a
Oh,
shower.
taking a bath. Okay, yeah. I wasn't sure if you were saying
Yep.
bath or bat. Yeah.
Yep. And water. And so my kids drop her off and they're like, hey, good luck if you can get her to take a bath, because she is refusing for us. And she really needs a bath and her hair wash. And I was like, okay, well, it's grandma's house. This is no, I preparing her for about 2 hours. She's going to get a bath, and she's like, no. And she's fearful, and she grabs on to me. And so it's bath time, and I go in the bath with her in the bathroom, and she says, no. And she grabs onto me and she starts screaming on the top of her lungs, and she's got me in this death grip. And I said, Aria, I said, you are divine. You do not have a phobia of water, and you do not have fear of a bath and water. And she instantly stopped and looked at me, smiled, and got into the bath.
Way to go, Shannon.
And I was like, I knew that's what was going to happen, right? Because we have that. And so we get her hair washed, and we get her all washed up, and she's washing her toys. And then she wanted our 110-pound bulldog to go in the tub with her, and the French bulldog to go in the tub with her. But it was the coolest thing, because she just looked at me when I said that and smiled and got right in the tub. And Taylor, I know Jamie's probably had some conversations with Taylor for, the past business stuff. And I asked him the other day, I said, Taylor, I said, have you been following Jamie's stuff? And he's like, well, a little bit. And I was like, I really want to encourage you to get on these calls and make that a priority, because he's got some stuff that he's been holding on to as well. And his mom used to curse. And so we've lived under the Winia curse and breaking those chains. And so when you say that, Don, like even the medical stuff, my sister I called my sister yesterday. She said she was emotional and she was wine drunk, and she was on the side of the road throwing up. She sends me a message, and I thought, well, what in the world is going on? So I call her and say, all right, what's going on? And this is right after our time with you guys. And she's like, well, I don't know. I drank way too much wine, and I'm struggling because my kids live so far from me, and there is something seriously wrong with my stomach. Grandma passed away from stomach cancer, so I need to go to the doctor. And our biological dad passed away 5 months ago from a brain tumor. And so she's telling me all this stuff, right? And Tim and I had her on speaker. We stopped her, and I just said, stop. You have got to get into your divinity. I said, you are not claiming these things. You're not speaking these things out. There is nothing wrong with you. I'm like, you have got to get back in the light. And I said, how many times we have throughout our years, we need to go back to that. And you need to go back and figure out why you're now starting to take on all of this stuff. And she was crying, I was crying. And she goes, you're right. She goes, I am divine, and I do have the power of not claiming these things. She's like, thank you guys so much. And so there was just so many cool things yesterday with that we were able to even do with Faith and Grace. When they started, I was like, hey, lady, you need to get into your divinity right now. And instant stopped, looked, smiled, and went on the rest of the time. It just instantly stopped.
Wow,
And
congratulations. Super congrats.
yes, so it was just a lot of cool stuff. And I just wanted to share that with you. Like, we do have that power. And
Right.
and even to my, you know, almost 3-year-old granddaughter, not letting her take on that anymore and letting her release that. So
That's cool. Way to go. Congratulations. Super congrats, Shannon.
thank you.
Great update.
Amazing update, Shannon. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Anyone else? If you want to just put your hand up, or if you can't come on, you can always throw it in the chat. I can see those from here, just barely. We'll get to them.
So, you know, it's amazing how things just come to us when we're holding this vibration. Just different things seem to just take shape, form. But know this, like I've been saying, you know, there's if you caught something, or you know, this or that or the other thing, know that there's something going on for you. I had mentioned this already, but I'll say it again. My brother, who was 1.5 years younger than me, when I was 17, when I was 17, him being 15 and a half, we had the same color eyes, same color hair, same height, same build. No one could tell us apart except family. That's how close we were. And he died about 1.5 years ago now, close to 2 years. And he was sick for 30 years. He took 24 to 30 pills a day for 30 years. In that same period of time, I was sick one day, which was the night before the tsunami in Thailand. My wife and I were there, and her 3 children and her son-in-law. And that's I was sick the night before. I was thrown up and puking and cramping and all of that, and it was from the energy of the tsunami that was on its way. That was the only time I was sick in 30 years. And he was sick every day for 30 years. Is there a difference? What do you think the difference was? It's like I said, we were as close as if we were twins. Same height, everything. What do you think the difference was? Anybody like to take a guess? Anybody? What do you think? Is it a coincidence that he was sick every day for 30 years? And I was sick once in that same time.
Vanessa says you were in your divinity and he wasn't.
Yeah, you're right. A form of divinity. It was a while before I got to where I'm at now.
Gilbert said he created it.
Yeah, he created them all. That's right, Gilbert. He created every single one of them. And I offered this to him, I think it was like 15 years ago. I said, David, you know, you're MS, and all these other things, there's a way to overcome them. Get away from me with that voodoo bullshit. Okay, David. Okay, each his own. Just wanted to offer it. My brother. Yeah, I don't even bother talking to me about that. Okay, done and done. That was it. And so, that's the difference. What do you think that difference was? Okay? Any idea? Difference between his choices and mine. Anybody?
Surrender comes up.
Yeah. I surrendered a little bit at a time. You have the ability now, with what I've figured out, that you can do it all at once. You can do it all at once. Do that surrender piece.
Anyone want to sign up for the 44-year program?
Yeah.
Or the 4-year,
Yeah.
like mine.
Yeah, mine was 44. Jamie's was 4. Some people it's 4 hours. Yeah, it's certainly gotten down there. That's for sure.
Gilbert says he'll pass on the 44 years.
Oh, come on, Gilbert. Where's your sense of adventure?
He's cheating. He got it before he even went through the official process.
Yeah, exactly.
It says he wants to share something that happened to him at Walmart yesterday. Go ahead, Gilbert.
Go ahead.
Take it away.
So yesterday I was like really feeling myself more than usual. So I was like glowing like crazy. And the crazy thing is that as I was walking, everybody's heads were turning. It was kind of weird. And and then I got to the checkout area, and I kid you not, there was like no one there until I got there. And then all of a sudden there was like 4 people tending to me. Like they could have went and helped other people out, but they were just like hovering around me, and I didn't even need help. But he was just like, "Okay, sir, let me help you out with." I was like, I think I'm good, bro. But hey, man, I do appreciate it. Like they were like just I've never had anybody that was just like right there like a hawk, just making sure that I was good. And then I said, "Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you watch my cart really quick while I go to the restroom?" And I kid you not, as soon as I put my cart to the side, the song "Hot Stuff" comes on. I just started laughing so hard. So I'm just like walking with my hair down. It was just like bobbing up and down, and then that song just played. I'm just like, "Fuck it, might as well just go with it." Oh my god, it was too funny. I'm sorry, I just had to share that.
Thanks, man.
Will, can we get the hot stuff song on, please?
Oh, you guys are gonna do that?
Well, 2 days ago, I was at an event, and there was approximately 500 people there, and they had a live band, and I was up near the front. There was a minimum of 20 children surrounding me. They just sat there and stared at me. What is that? That is that light. We're all
Shining bright, John. You're shining bright for the world.
Blinded by the
Yeah.
light.
And we're all meant to do this. And that's why it only takes 114 at 700 plus to put enough light on the planet that darkness dissolves. And so that's what we're looking for, is 714. 114 at 700. That's what we're looking for.
Or one at 50,000.
Yeah, I wanted 50,000. Don't listen to Jamie right now.
Shannon says hard no on the 44-year program.
Oh, come on! Like, where's your sense of adventure, you guys?
Yeah, where's your commitment?
Yeah. So yeah, it's like the kids. See, they don't have any filters. They just see the light and are drawn to it, like a bee to honey or a fly to light. You know, they see the light and they just want to be around it. And then there was something that was kind of special. Was it was a Muslim thing, and it was I'm using my own language here. It would be considered like a christening if you were Catholic. Okay, that's all. That's
Like
all
a
I can say.
baptism?
Huh?
Like a baptism?
Yeah, baptism. Sorry, and so that's what it was about, and her name when before she was born, her mother asked she was my wife to be at the time, for a name with my name in it. So I said, well, okay. My name is Don, Donn. And so I said, yeah, Donalda. And so
It's Don's old stage name.
yeah. So that's what her name is Donalda. Anyway, there was kind of like a space around, and they played a song. I can't remember what the name of the song was, and there was nobody up on. It was on grass, but I'll say the dance floor, and I just went and got Donalda, and I danced that whole dance, the whole waltz. Her and I, just the two of us, waltzing. This little, not quite 4 months young little girl, and her just cuddled in there and just loving that energy. And later I went around behind, and there was two ladies there, and it was my mother-in-law and her friend. And her friend said, I don't know if you noticed, Dawn, but there wasn't a dry eye in the whole place watching you dance with little Donalda. And that's how we light up the world. That's how we make it bright. That's how we get rid of darkness. It's not about starting wars. And I'm telling you, there was a couple of times not too long ago, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to take this guy down somehow. No, Don. Stop that. No. We're going to get brighter lights. We're going to get brighter lights. That's what we're going to get. And so I'm challenging you to get your light bright. Bring it out into the open. Let go of your shyness. Let go of all of those limiting messages you have of who you think you are. You are meant to shine. You are meant to, bring light to the world in a way that it has never been done before. Now, I'm not very good at memorization, and Jamie might know these
That's
answers.
true. I can attest to that.
But the guy that was mentioned, I don't know if it was Dr. Hawkins or the other guy, about the light. Oh,
The guy that was talking about the light.
no.
I'm going to need a little more information there, bud.
When I shift from intuitive to intellect, I'm completely lost.
Vanessa's saying, make sure you're talking to the mic because you're going in and out.
Okay, thanks, Vanessa. How's that? Is this better?
Well, speaking of children,
Yeah. Go,
What-
Jamie.
my first born beautiful daughter, Alina, when she was in the womb, Dawn was, or I should say, Alina was the first one that Dawn had ever worked with in the womb. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had a big event at the time, December 22nd, 2021. It was a big group event. How many did we have on that call? Remember?
20. No.
Was it 20 or something?
Yeah.
That was when we had first discovered that we needed 114 at 700.
Right.
So that event was directed for that. And there was about 20 something, forget. Anyway, the very next day, Alina was born on December 23rd. And I ended up sneaking Dawn on the birth certificate
Yeah.
as the grandfather. And Alina means light in Greek. So, divine light.
Yeah. And I think I already told you guys there was a lady in the community where my wife is. And she was as big as a house. And I said, when are you due here, lady? She said, yeah, a week, 10 days. And she was within arm's length. And I just put my hand over on her tummy and started speaking to the child intuitively, not out loud, giving her messages, telling her it was safe to come out. And she was born the next morning. Yeah, that's us. That's us. And I don't mean Jamie and I mean us. That's what I mean. And that's how much influence we have, like the stories. Like Noah with his little 3-year young daughter. And now she's waiting for her daddy to do his divine focus, and she knows how to link her fingers like this and be still and all of that. Isn't that amazing? Like, isn't that amazing? Like, seriously. This is how we do this light thing. This is how we shift humanity's consciousness to 700. Because if we shift 114 to 700, it shifts everyone to 700. Now all we're talking about is having light. Because what happens to a dark room if you turn a bunch of lights on, especially floodlights? What happens? How much darkness is there?
Zero darkness, sir.
Zero darkness. And the wars and the diseases and the travesties and even the weather storms. Many times I've like the one in Miami, Florida. What was it called? Hurricane Durian. Now, I don't do this with them all. I don't. I don't. It's like that's not what I'm here for. But I was just listening to the weather once, and I don't listen to this stuff. But if I hear it, it means that I'm meant to hear it. Hurricane Durian, and it just came through Bermuda and or the Bahamas. Bahamas, that's what it was. And it tore half of it apart. And it was coming up the eastern seaboard, like the Florida Keys and all the way up. And they said it was going to be a Category 5 monster storm. And I just got this intuitive hit to do something about it. And I even mentioned to the group of that were in their IAMDIVINITY to say, listen, this is what I'm doing at 2:00 on Friday, and anybody wants to join me, please do. Just all you have to do is know that at this time on Friday, I'm doing this. So that's what I did. I held the energy for Hurricane Dorian, and I said, you are not turning into a Category 5 monster storm. Okay? Effective immediately, you are diminishing in your power. And immediately it dropped to a 3. Then it dropped to a 2.5. Then it went back up to 3. And this was in the evening that it did that. And I said, listen, I told you that it's a 2.5 most. And instantly it went back to 2.5. It went up the eastern seaboard. And then it dropped to a 2. And by the time I got up to the east coast, where the PI and where I used to live and whatever, it was a 1.5. They interviewed people and said, well, what did you think of Hurricane Dorian? Oh, we've had bigger storms in the middle of the, like, those are natural here. There's nothing extraordinary about it at all. You know, and I there was a forest fire in Kelowna, in the interior of British Columbia. And that year, it was 4 million or 40 million. I forget what it was. It was a big number. And all of the forest that was destroyed by fire. And this was all happening around July and August. And I just happened to hear it. And remember, I'm doing things intuitively. And I just said, as I heard it, you are not doing that next year. You dare do that, and you will suffer the consequences. You do not ever do that again. And so the next year, so I think it was 4 million was the amount that year. And it was 1.2 million the next year. It's the lowest they had in years. So imagine if we all decided on something. I'd like to change this. I'd like to, with my light, influence that. Wonder what I could do about this. What would you think of that? Anybody? What would you think about using your power for that? Any ideas, anybody? Got something?
Gilbert says, if 114 say stop, it would stop instantaneously.
We don't need 114 to say stop. But what we do, Gilbert, is 114 people being in their light at 700. And it's like this room all lit up with 1,000 lights. And there's just no darkness. So the prostitution and the murders and the robberies and because all the storms are just a reflection of what humanity's doing. So, and that's why when I put my hand up to stop that that wall of rain, and only 3 drops got on Nikki's windshield, and none on her or none on me. Not amazing. Not amazing. It was like 10 feet away when I gave the command. So that's the power we have. And that's what we're doing here. To have everyone have the Gilbert experience, or the Shannon experience, or the whatever Nua experience. I don't remember everybody's names. Not exciting. to get to this high of a vibration and have this kind of an impact just by holding this light. And I'm telling you that on Thursday night, there was at least 20 children in the space of this room here, right where I'm sitting, just looking, staring at me, just staring at me. Yeah, and just, I touch their head, and they have these big smiles. They're really small, all the way up to 5 and 6. What's that? So that's it. And the ones that are sharing about their children, isn't that exciting? They're getting this just by you being in it. That's amazing. Yeah. And so I challenge you. I challenge you to put your divinity to the test, like Jamie did. I'm going to get a convertible. It's going to rain for 3 days. Don't matter. I'm getting a convertible. Okay? I went and got it. And it happened. So, time to break out your shell of insecurity and all of those things and leave them on the in the ditch, and get that gigantic, big, beautiful smile on, and hold that light. Have that gigantic heart of yours. Not be afraid anymore. Imagine not having your heart be afraid of ever being hurt. Because it's like, think about this now. Some of you, this metaphor might not fit, but imagine you having this really hot furnace energy and somebody throwing a snowball at you. What's going to happen? Tell me what's going to happen to that snowball. Is it going to reach you?
It's going to melt.
Going to melt. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. The darkness is going to melt. Okay? The darkness is going to melt into the light. So that's what we're here for. I'm asking you to shine that beautiful light of yours as bright as can be. And remembering it.
So last thing before we wrap up, for those of you in your holding phase, I'd like to see a measurement, a percentage of your days that you're in your light. So just drop it in the chat, what percent you're in your light these days after the process. Gilbert said 100.
Way to go,
Way to go,
Gilbert.
bud. 90 for Vanessa.
Awesome.
70 from Amy. Is that 50 or 80, Janet? Or both?
50 to 80? I don't know.
50
Maybe
to 80. LK's 80. So why not 100, huh? Why not 100?
So
intellectual,
what's that?
intellectual brain thinking that I'm not at 100.
Uh-huh. Because you know very clearly what 100 looks like and feels like. Am I correct, Janet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a good reason why you wouldn't be at 100?
I'm thinking too hard to try to get there.
Oh, isn't that interesting? You're thinking too hard how to get to your light, which prevents you from getting to be in your light.
Yeah.
Huh. That certainly sounds like a trick of the ego.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you do remember you being in your light. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I remember you being in your light, so you must remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember very, very clearly you being in your light. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, tell me why you wouldn't want to stay there.
I do like
You do?
I
Lack of
like
surrender.
yeah. It's like I'm obsessed with doing the process now. Like I can't go a day without doing it.
Well, that's
And
super.
it's like, am I getting to that maximum capacity? Because it's like when you're around Dawn, it's just natural. It's like to get there. And then when you're by yourself, it's like, did I get there?
Well, the did I get there is the question which takes you out of there.
Yeah. That, yep. Thank you.
'Cause listen, and listen right now. Put yourself on that beach.
Hmm.
Okay, do you remember the 100?
Yeah.
Yeah, close your eyes. Now tell me how close to 100 you are holding this vibration.
Okay, let me let go of this pressure of being on Zoom first.
Yeah. Remember sitting on that
Discovery Beach.
yeah, Discovery Beach. You're thinking way too hard. Way, way, way too hard. Janet, get the hell out of your intellect.
Yeah.
Get into your body. And remember, sitting there on that bed, that lounge chair, whatever in the heck it was called. You remember
Bed.
sitting there? Waves what lapping in,
Mhm.
sun shining brightly.
Mhm.
Remember that? You're doing too much, way, way too much thinking.
Darn, you can't, energy doesn't lie.
No, it doesn't lie.
Feel it. Oh,
Are you not sitting on a bed or something right now?
yeah, I'm sitting on my bed.
Okay, you're sitting on your bed. Now
Mhm.
close your eyes for a sec.
Okay.
Now instead of sitting on the bed in your bedroom, you're sitting on that lounge chair on Discovery Beach. What's happening?
Nothing.
That's right. Your mind is racing.
Mm.
Recall sitting on the beach, on Discovery Beach, on that lounge couch chair. The waves lapping in. Got it?
Mhm.
Notice how this feels. Put the racing mind behind you. It has no business being here right now. Remember what it was like when we burst that bubble? And all of that toxicness was gone. And you were just radiating. And you relive this, recall this. Have you got it, Janet?
Mhm.
Now, how big is your heart energy?
Big.
How bright is it?
Bright.
How bright?
Limitless.
Yeah. And how much worth are you, Janet?
Oh, priceless.
Yes, you are priceless. And how invincible do you feel here in this state?
Not invincible.
And how free do you feel with no clutter of doing this and doing that and having to be here and having to be there and all of those things?
Mm.
What's it like to not have any of that happening?
Yeah, it's liberation.
It is liberation. Who's creating it?
Me.
Yes. Yes. Would it be okay for you to do this kind of creation 3 times a day?
Yeah.
No matter where you are?
Yeah.
Whether you're in the beach or on top of a roof?
Mm-hmm.
Now, keep your eyes closed. Do you deserve to have this? Or do you need
Yes.
to punish yourself a little more?
No.
You finished punishing you?
Yeah.
And is it okay to enjoy life to its max?
Yes.
No matter who's in your life and who's not.
Yes.
Would it be okay to keep this knowing?
Yes.
Do you deserve this, Janet?
Oh, yeah.
Are you sure now? Because, I mean, you're Asian. Maybe you're not allowed to have this. Are you allowed to have this or not?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. So when do you want to make that decision to be in this state?
Right now.
Okay. So out of 100, how high is it?
100.
Yes, it is. Did you go to anywhere? Did you leave? Did you grab a train somewhere? Did you fly somewhere to get it?
No.
Where'd you get it?
From inside.
Uh-huh. So is it okay for you a minimum of 3 times a day to go inside and get it and bring it out and hold it so you can, it's like you're holding your big, beautiful big heart. Imagine you holding your beautiful big heart and you see that God energy in that heart of yours. You remember that?
Yeah.
Would you, well, would it be okay to keep remembering this?
Yes.
One more time. Do you deserve this, Janet?
Yes.
You darn right you do. Are you going to lose anything by having this?
No.
No. So would it be okay then for you to fully embrace this?
Yes.
What color are your eyes?
Brown.
What?
Brown.
Yes. Now, how much effort does it take to have your eyes that color?
No effort.
No effort. You have to stop 10 times a day to try to remember the color of your eyes?
No.
Why?
It takes no effort to be
That's
brown.
right. This takes no effort, Janet. This is who you are. And now you know who you are. Am I correct?
Yes.
So is it okay to keep this?
Yes.
Do you deserve this?
Yes.
Wonderful. What if no one likes you?
It's okay. I like
What if
me.
everybody thinks you're weird?
They already do.
Awesome. Join the crowd. You're in the right crowd.
And welcome to the club.
So, do you need anything for this to happen?
No.
No, you do not need a thing. And are you concerned about what others think?
No.
No. Got nothing to do with anybody other than you. That's it. Clear?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. Congratulations. Now, while you're in this with your eyes closed, take your thumb first finger right hand,
Mhm.
thumb first finger left. Link them together like a chain link fence. I am
I am.
with authority.
I am.
There. Now they know. These 100 trillion cells now know. This is who you are. And this is who you're meant to stay being. And you look in the mirror as often as you can, seeing the color of your eyes. It'll remind you instantly of your beautiful bright light. Got it?
Got it.
Congratulations. Thanks for your courage. Step out and say, I'm going to do this. Super
you.
congrats, Janet.
Thank you.
Okay.
Woo! Yeah.
That is so funny. I was about to ask you, so I asked you in my head to do that, Gilbert. I was literally about to say, Gilbert, can we get a
Okay, you guys
Congrats,
stop.
Janet.
You're not
Way to
allowed
go.
to be doing that, okay?
The telepathy worked. Attaboy. Don't need to talk anymore. Thank you for being a beautiful display for everyone, Janet.
Yes. Congratulations, my dear. Give yourself a big hug from me.
I will. Thank you, Dawn, always. And Jamie.
More than welcome. Okay, well, I think we'll end on that. And for those of you that need help getting access to the portal to go through the process, or we got some crypto forex stuff in there too, just jump on the onboarding call. Will's gonna put that in the chat right now. We do that every day after these live streams at 12 p.m. Eastern. It's bit.ly/IAMDIVINITY onboarding call. There you go. Well, everyone, done.
Yeah, well, as usual, it's a pleasure sharing how we got to where we are and how you are able to stay holding your light for us to continue to raise humanity's consciousness to 700 by having 114. And it could be some of your children, like Noah, little 3-year young, or Shannon, or whoever. But it's like being at 700. And we need 114. Imagine you being one of them. How exciting is that? How exciting is that?
And how amazing that you got the 44-year program down to a 4-hour program.
Exactly.
Anyone that I didn't hear before, anyone want to sign up for the 44-year? We could offer that.
Jamie's going to do that one.
Lead by example, Jamie. Let us know how it goes in 44 years, bro.
Okay. I'll let you know.
Once was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 years was way too long for me. That's enough.
Yeah, it was.
I dropped out of high school early. I did not want to do no 4-year program for anything, but here I am, 4 years of divinity.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he had the luxury of having that narcissism where Was it 4 times we took a stab at that before? I think it was 3 for sure.
3 outs, so 4 ins, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how that would work, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4th time's a charm.
Yeah. It truly is. Yeah. Very.
Sam Divine is saying something. Great. What does it say? Great retention? Really? Oh, he's talking about the religion business model of how high the retention is if you tell them they're all doomed to hell if they don't do it.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Anyway, you go nurse your big toe there. You said left side, right, Sam? It was the left? Sam couldn't be here at the studio today because his toe that he almost went to the hospital for, his stub little toe. It's gone now, he says. Way to go, Sam. Oh, Vanessa already knows emotional stuff, she says. The left.
Yeah.
Anyway, we will see you all tomorrow, same time. As long as we can get Don out of bed, he'll be here. Thanks for being with us as always. So amazing. So we're definitely chunking down that 114 number.
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really exciting actually.
When we landed on that 114, what was it? 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, 3.
We found that in Hawkins' book.
Yeah.
Was it Eye of the Eye or something?
Yeah.
One of his not popular books. It was very refreshing because we were we were like, we didn't know, so we're like,
We
how
thought we
many
have
thousands
thousands.
do we need?
Yeah.
You know, and like we were struggling with these. All of my circle at the time, most of them narcissists. Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah.
So Don was trying to take down these massive marketing narcissists one by one, and I was the only one to stick through it. But
Yeah.
it was very refreshing when we found that the number was only 114.
Yeah.
But still, it's still been quite the frickin' journey.
Yeah.
Over 3 years to find the ones that are serious, committed, and willing to surrender. So I honor all of those of you on the call that have been extremely committed with us to be one of those 114. Yeah, I sense a big awakening happening.
Yeah, seriously. Like we're like this is mathematically proven. And we've been following some things that that prove that this is very, like, if you look at this circle right now of the number that's on this call, and you going back to your husband or your wife or your children, and now they're shifting, or your sister or your brother, and all of a sudden now these kids are holding their light or whatever it is. And that's what that's it. And so get this 114.
The snowball has begun.
The snowball has begun, and it's on top of Mount Everest. And it's going to pick up speed here very quickly.
Yes.
Yep.
More like a big boulder that we it took a while to move an inch, and now it's starting to roll on its own down Mount Everest.
Yes.
Will, can we put
Divinity boulder?
in there?
Nice.
Yeah, Divinity Boulder.
Yeah,
For the people below. I'm
Divinity
sure.
boulder jogging. But Don was too busy jogging on the boulders that it took us 3 years to move them. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways, it's a pleasure sharing what's going on with us and listening to what's is going on for you, and to see how this is climbing in its intensity and the impact it's it's having and it's going to have. Yeah, it's like just that other like that I say 20, but I'd say it was more like 40 kids out of that 500, and they were around me like bees to honey. Seriously, and that's it. I didn't take them through a process. I didn't do any of that. They all just had these big smiles. They had these big smiles on their faces. And yeah, so that's it.
You do kind of look like Santa Claus.
Without the beard, yeah. Yeah, forever young.
Yeah, I remember us on the world tour and going through different malls all over the world, and uh, many occasions, complete strangers coming up to us and, "Can you hold my baby and take a picture?"
Yeah,
Like just,
seriously.
wow, absolutely wild.
Yeah, yeah. And so remember, it's nothing any more difficult than turning on a bunch of floodlights in a dark room. And the mice and the crickets and the bugs and the ants and everything scurries. They just scurry out. They're gone. That's it. So, welcome aboard. I trust that you're committed to the whole process to get this.
I trust it won't take you 4 years like it did me.
Or 44 like for me. And so, yeah, like I remember a few of you were asking me how I did each one of those process. Well, some of them are 10 years in the making. And it takes 10 minutes to do it. And so, anyway, 111 here. Good time to
Here we go.
say goodnight. And,
Yes.
and as always, a pleasure. And thanks everyone for sharing, especially Janet, being brave and getting back into your light in public. Isn't that awesome? Way to go, girl. So, see you guys tomorrow night.
Adios, everyone.
Or morning for you guys.
Technically morning for you too, because you wake up twice before we do it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
All right, onboarding call if you need some assistance with the tech stuff. We'll help you get into the portal.
All right, take
Okay.
care. All the best. Nighty night.